Cool, Sam. How are you?
It's pretty grey outside. It has been very sunny the last couple of days, but today it's cloudy and windy, which is very classic for London. So,
Which parts of England or the UK are you in?
in London, yeah,
Oh,
West
London
London.
itself. Okay, yes, we hear that from Eli a lot. I don't know if you saw his feedbacks.
It's good. It's a brilliant city, and I mean, I happen to love the weather here, but it's definitely not for everyone. So you've got to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. London is an amazing city. We actually almost relocated to Gravesend, not too far from Dartford. And with the fast train, it was very fast to go to central London. Okay, let's. I think you have some challenges that may be very common to new users with RTILA, and maybe we can address them together. And I would like to hear from you, please.
Brilliant. Well, yes. The first of these, I followed one of the tutorials that you had around a Google search.
Yes.
And I managed to get it working exactly as I wanted to, except it wouldn't, or I couldn't get it to populate the search term that it was using for each of the items.
Yes.
And so, I feel like I've tried everything and it isn't working.
Got it. So if I remember correctly, it's that there was already a list with keywords for Google search, and then it will cycle through those keywords, fill up, populate, and then click search. That's the automation you're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, and so I've managed to get a data table that has got the name of the web page, a description of it, and then this blank. What's the search term that led me here?
Ah, got it. Yes. Okay, let's do it from scratch so that I can walk you through some good practices, and also so that you can pick up how to edit these automations, because Google in the UK behaves a little bit differently than Google in France or in the US, just because of the language adaptations and also the GDPR rules. So sometimes they block some functions or they load a different engine depending on where you are in the world. So let's cover that, and I'm gonna share my screen and we do this from scratch. So normally the template that you used, it should work for 90% of the people, 90% of the cases, but I suspect it's a CSS selector that changed, and that or maybe the list was not working properly. Please let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So let's call this new Google search loop. We start with google.com. So I create this project. Then we open RTILA here from the Chrome extension site. That will open our panel. We have two panels, the inspection panel and the automation panel. The inspection panel is for catching the data, and the automation panel is for making the automation flow itself with the commands. So the first thing we want to do is that we want to use a list, Sam, yeah? That's what we had first. The list command is a loop, actually. It's technically a JavaScript loop that will go through and execute all the commands that you nest inside here. It will execute it for every value that you put on every row. So let's use some basic keywords like blue shirt, red shirt, black shirt. We want to cycle through and type all these keywords one after one into the Google search and get the results. So that's how you build the list. And you could have, we can do that on a second video, but you could have multi-columns lists. So for example, I could say a blue shirt, and then I can put, for example, an ID, like the SKU of the shirt, so that I can feed back the data to my e-commerce website. So I could put it has this shirt SKU 01. So here I put a comma. I don't know if you see, but I put a comma. And what I'm doing here, Sam, is that I am giving to RTILA list. I'm telling RTILA that every row has two columns of values. It has the first column will have the shirt name or the keyword, and the second column is my SKU. So we can work on this later on, And if you do that, then you need to specify the delimiter that delimits the columns. So I used comma, so I put comma here, but I could have used pipe, like this, pipe instead of comma. Here, pipe instead of comma, and then I put pipe here. So even if I don't use it right now, some, but this is powerful for other matters, I wanted to bring this to your attention because if you have content in your list that has a comma, that may actually create problems. For example, if you have blue striped shirt and you have a comma here, that can break your automation at one point. So when you're using the list, the ideal way, if you're not using the multi-column purposefully, is that you make sure that whatever you feed in here doesn't have any potential delimiter that could break your automation. So this is one of the first mistakes that can happen, Sam. Yeah.
So 2 questions then.
Yes, please.
If I'm using commas to determine sort of different columns in this table that we're creating here.
Yeah.
Can I do the thing that you do on a CSV and put speech marks around a text string so that it identifies that as being different from the delimiter?
That could be a good approach. Unfortunately, not for the list, because the list may not interpret the same way that Excel or other tools will interpret it with the signs. So the ideal is that really as a raw text, that here there is nothing that can disturb programming languages. So you avoid single bracket, double brackets, all those signs that are used in programming. And you want to have just like pure text, and maybe let's call it alphanumeric text and numbers. This is especially as a beginner, you don't want to introduce complexity from your own input. We have enough complexity to deal with. So that's what we advise, is that let's start with very simple, just letters and words, letters and numbers, and simple words, no columns. So now we have the right starting block in terms of input. So we have removed the risk that something will go wrong because of our input. So let's now move forward. This list has 3 keywords. Now I was saying that whatever you do to benefit from the loop, whatever command now you're gonna use, you should nest it inside the loop. So I'll give you an example. If I put now here, I'm gonna use a command called alert. So the alert command is very useful for you guys for testing what's going on. So the alert command, I'll show you 2 things. I will put it outside, and I want to alert the current value of the list. So I'm going to copy the variable name, and in RTILA, you can print whatever is right now in that variable by using this syntax. You use open curly bracket, you input the command name, and you close curly bracket. Now whatever is in the list will be alerted on the screen. That's what the alert does as a model window. So I'm going to run this so that you get the concept of nesting. So now if I run this, normally it's going to cycle through blue shirt, red shirt, black shirt. So I should see every shirt name one after one, because the alert is just printing whatever the list has as value. Okay, so let's run this as a first scenario. Here, I will run it. Okay, you see here I get black shirt and then nothing. So the reason why it showed black shirt is because it has cycled through blue shirt, red shirt, black shirt. So the last value that list has acquired is black shirt. And because my alert was not inside, it was outside, that means it's waiting that the list finish its job, and the last value of the list is being printed. So it's printing black shirt, because that's exactly the last value that the list variable has acquired. So for us to benefit from the list, I need to throw this inside the list. And if I do that now I'm going to benefit from the loop. So when I run this, the alert is going to get fed the blue shirt, and then I click OK, it's going to go for the second cycle, red shirt, third cycle, black shirt. Now I'm having a proper loop. So this is the basics of using a loop. now that we get it, that we need to nest stuff inside, now we can put our values inside, and we have verified that our keywords are cycling through. So let's remove the alert. Now what we want to do inside the list, you can use the plus here to add the command inside the list. The next one we want to use is populate, because we want to populate the current value of the list, which will be initially blue shirt in the first cycle. We want to populate blue shirt into the search box. So you see here, because I clicked on CSS selector for populate search, I can go and highlight the input or any other place that I want to interact with RTILA. In our case, we want to input the data here, and you can see here when I highlight, it says div text area. So if I click, RTILA is picking up the CSS selector. This is not the ideal CSS selector, but we have a training on how to make it resilient. But for today's purpose, this does the job, because it's targeting the area where I want to input the data. And here, Sam, you have two options. You can mimic human typing, which is often advised because there are protection against bots that may want you to enter the data letter by letter. So when you have here checked human typing, it will enter the data letter by letter. For example, I can put here example keyword and always test your commands with the static data. So now example keyword, I want it to be printed over there. So if I run this command here, you're going to see that it's going to start printing there. You see, letter by letter in white over yellow, but it is writing in the right place. So now I know that it is writing in the right place. I can replace my static data with my variable data, which is open curly bracket list, the variable name, and I close curly bracket. Now the populate text field is going to inherit the current list value using this syntax, and will actually enter it into that field. And then once it does that, it will iterate and enter the next one. So far, is it okay, Sam?
Yes, and I'm trying to mimic what you're doing on my screen.
That's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. So I'm going step by step so that it allows us to do that. So let's now run this and see how it behaves, because we want to see now what it will do. So let's do like the beginner mistakes. That's what I'm reproducing. So if I do that, I have my loop and I put populate. Let's watch what's going to happen. So it's typing blue shirt, it's typing red shirt, it's typing black shirt. Up. The loop is working, but not really as you expect it. Yeah, but it's working. So now here the important point, Sam, and I like to see you as well at the same time as I'm speaking. So I'm doing these tricks. What you want to do here when you're a beginner is that you need to force yourself to think like a step-by-step machine that RTILA is. So what is the thought process I need to apply so that I can actually speak the language that this software is expecting? The software is expecting you to tell it every little step that you need to do. So for example, humanly speaking, we know that once I type the keyword, I should then press enter or click search, and then I need to reload the page and empty the field before I input the next data. This we know it intrinsically as humans, but the bots, you need to tell it, empty the field, come back, reload the page, do that. Like every little action that maybe we're not thought processing, we have to actually process them and put them there. So I need to follow that. So here is how I do it verbally. Verbally, I speak to my automation. I say, okay, once I get the current value from the list, what do I do? What do I do physically and mentally? Yes, so what I do is that I get the current list, which is this syntax. I get the current list value. I throw it into the populate. So I populate the field, yes. What do I do after that? Oh, I press enter. Then I'm going to go here and add a press a keyboard key. Let's add that. So I press what? I press enter. So I go here and I search for enter, E-N-T. Here, enter. Okay, I press enter. But I press enter where? You see here? Where do I press enter? Because for us, it's logic because we inputted the text. But it's not logic for the machine. So I need to tell it to press enter in the same place which is the CSS selector, where you actually fed you populated the text. Now I copy paste and I tell it press enter in the same field where I inputted the text value in the beginning to start with. And then here what happens also is that we have a hard time to crystallize the waiting time as a human. We don't calculate wait as a command, but actually it's a very important command, otherwise it's 90%. Sorry, I'm gonna take a quick call if you don't mind, because it's
yeah, no worries.
you know the joke about the plumbers that we use to come late to work? That's the one. Sorry, just 1 second, please. Okay, back. So we're gonna resume the video after this. Yes, so I was saying, Sam, that 90% or 80% of the automations, they fail because we do not put the right waiting times at the right places. So we expect them as a human, we're waiting unconsciously, we're doing wait times, but we need to so that's very important. So now I'll give you an example. To be thorough, I should actually wait at least 1 second every time I do something. So here I added the wait time and I just wait 1 second. So after I input the text, as a human, I move the mouse, or there is half a second before I click enter. So I want to reproduce that wait time. So I populate the text, I wait 1 second, I press enter. After I press enter, it's not 1 second that I should wait. It's almost like 10 seconds for the results to appear. Yeah. So when you're loading a page, in that case, you use a different type of wait that is called wait navigation, which means that it will wait as much as needed for the page to load the data that you want to scrape. So I'm going to use wait navigation, and here the default timeout is 10 seconds. So if you're in the UK and you're on the desktop or 4G fast internet, 10 seconds is okay. But if you have a slow internet, you may want to put 15 or even 20 or 30. If the page is very long, that's what you need to do. So I'll stay with 10 for now. And now what I have done is that we have created the loop that populates the text, wait 1 second, press enter, wait up to 10 seconds for the page to load. Now what do we do next, Sam, in terms of computer step? I think you still mute.
Yeah.
Like thinking computer-wise. So now the data has displayed. What do you do next? From a thought process and an action.
Well, what's going to have happened is it's now going to be displaying the results page.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I'm now going back to what I then did.
Yes.
I then at that point have introduced some sort of data extraction.
Yes.
To take the information.
Okay.
And then, sorry, I'm going to say this out loud.
That's actually the best way is to verbalize it and say it out loud. So please go ahead.
What I then tried to do was either it was press the back button or navigate to the google.com homepage again.
Yes.
And it didn't do that step. It still worked.
Yes.
but it didn't do that piece. It just typed the search term into the search bar that appears at the top of the
yes.
page. So I don't know why it's doing it, but
that's the very good way. You did it the right way, because you have even went further and think, what do I need to prepare before the next cycle of the loop starts? Which means I need to empty the populate or I need to reload Google. So that's what I would do as well, like you said. So I'll resume what you said. You said I will extract the data. So I'm going to use extract. We can deal with the extraction later, which is in the inspection side. But we extract the data because now it's displayed. That's the very good approach, because that's the ultimate objective, is that every cycle you extract the data. Now, after extracting the data, that's where a lot of people make mistakes, is that they don't think, how do I prepare back before the next loop? And you're right, the best way is to go back, go to the URL, go to URL, and I go back to Google. So I just copy Google here. Now, possibly, you need to give time to Google to load again. because if you don't give it time to load again and the list starts, the list will start before Google is ready, before Google page is ready. So here I'm going to add another wait navigation. So now I verbalize it. Not only I go to Google, but also I wait for Google to reload, and it's going to reload fresh and empty here, so that my next cycle now is going to populate and so on. So let's run this and see if it works, because I think that's the first thing that didn't work for you. So let's do that. Let's run this. Okay, this was working so far. Blue shirt. I'm doing too many things. So let's solve this. I'm gonna add some time to press the CAPTCHA. Let's try to catch it now. Yeah, I think we're going too fast. We may want to slow down. Yeah, let's slow down. We're going too fast. So this is also one of the potential problems, especially if you have an African IP address like me. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna wait a little bit more, and I show you some tricks as well. Is that we can create a folder. We can create a folder here, and I put it after populating the text and before pressing the keyboard. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna do some funny movements. So let's say I populated something there. Then I'm going to simulate here in command folder. I'm going to use this start button, which is start recorder. So the recorder is going to record the moves that I do with my mouse. So if you pay attention, I'm going to click and I'm going to do some moves around here and Google search, and I just make some moves and then I stop the recording. So it created a number of things. It created a number of mouse hover over different elements. So I can delete some of them. Sometimes we don't need as many, but you need a minimum to show to any website that you're actually doing some human moves. And here there is a change page size, which is taking my new window size, but I don't want it. I can remove it. So now I'm creating a bit of delay, but also a bit of movement before I press the keyboard key. But also to make it more human, I'm gonna click the button Google search. So I'm gonna replace enter press keyboard. I'm gonna replace it with a click, which may appear more human to any system. And I bring it here. After I hover, I type my text, I hover around, then I click Google search. So I go here, CSS selector, and I click on this. And now there are two of them. So that's not working for us, but I'm gonna use a different way. And this is where you have to go to the course of CSS selectors, and you need to look into the inspection. You can see this is the class that RTILA initially picked up, but that's not working. The best is to take so it's an input and something that is unique and resilient. Type submit, that's generic. So maybe here, I'm going to use area label Google search. I copy this and I put it in between rectangular brackets and I paste it there, and it's still finding two buttons, you see here. So now I'm going to use, if I do input, okay, I think I got it. What we need to do is we need to tell it where it is. So center, that's not working. There are two buttons, and oh yeah, here you see there are two buttons. There's one button Google search and the other one is GS action. Here, name button K. Maybe that could help us to make it unique. I think I got it, Sam. Because we're going to experiment this. You see, this CSS selector says that there are two of them, two occurrences, but it's not true. I think it could be a bug in our command. So let's take this CSS selector, which in theory is good, and we're going to use our new command. We have a new command called experimenter CSS selector, which is more advanced, and it may tell us what's going on. So I'm going to use the selector there, and you see it says there are two. So this is behaving the same way then click. Where is the click here? Then there may be two there. Let's use it.
Is this the same thing that you referenced in your email about how to scrape the data from LinkedIn?
Exactly, yeah. It's the same challenge, is that they do things in the source code where things are in duplicate or hidden, and we need to figure out a way that we only click that exact element. So let me show you, maybe this is a good opportunity to deal with these kind of cases. You see in our selector experiment 01, we have a new function called search mode. So let's use we enable search mode, and I'm going to remove this, and I want actually to find all the elements that contain this text Google search. And I'm going to let this command find for me. So I switch to console mode. I do Control L to empty. And now I'm asking the search mode to find for me all the CSS selectors that have Google search as a text value. So I'm going to run this and see if this command can help me find a better, a better CSS selector. So did I do that correctly? Yes. So you see here, it did the research, and it says indeed there are two of them, but one of them is unique. And the unique match is this. You see what I get here? So it's not enough to use the button name. I need to use the class as well. And then this is the way that you can get one element and you will not click the other element. So let's use this. Now I copy this. Copy here, copy. And I go back to my initial click, which was giving me two elements. And now I delete this and I paste what our command has found. And now it finds one. Let's see if it's clickable. Yeah, it clicked it. But now we have the opportunity to solve the CAPTCHA. Okay, so here, and this.
And the way that you've just done that, where you've used that, the experimenter function as a search, and then to go back in and use your click on an element action, that's the way you recommend.
Exactly, yeah. Use that command to help you, especially as a non-developer, to help you find the right selector in the page. You use our experimental command. That's why we built it. So sorry, I need to go through this because sometimes our connection in Mauritius goes through South Africa, and then sometimes South Africa and Mauritius connections are kind of blacklisted for a couple of days by European servers and others. So today is particularly unfriendly to my location. Okay, I think now I solved it once and it's gonna work. But yes, let's go back to what you were saying, because that's an important help for you guys. When you are challenged, when you're not able to find the CSS selector or the click, so let's do it again. I'll do it again, Sam, because I think we got a nice opportunity to work on this knowledge. Initially, I wanted to click this Google search button. So this point and click that we call point and click is not working well because it finds this, but then there are two elements in the page, and that's how Google and LinkedIn and the others, they confuse automation tools. They try to create duplications or hide elements so that we get confused. So this is not working because if I run the automation, it's going to click on the button Google search, but it's going to click on another button somewhere that will break your loop. Does it make sense, Sam? The danger of having two elements when you're targeting only one.
Yeah, well, it's not human behavior, is it? You can't click on two things.
You can't click two, exactly. So of course, if a human clicks two things at the same time, that's not a human. Even if we have two, I don't even know if we can have two mouses and click with the two mouses at the same time. Yeah, but you got the point. So that triggers things. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm not going to use the click and point. and I delete this. So when I'm stuck like this, I'm going to use another command that will help me figure this out. I go to custom commands, and then I look for my selector. We have this command called selector experimental. Experimental because it's new and we are still adding functionalities that will help us. Once this selector experimental is very stable for us, we will actually replace the other commands to use this technology or this approach. But right now for our learning, I'm going to collapse this and collapse this, collapse this. For our learning, we have a mode inside the experimental command. We have a mode that we call search mode. Search mode is an algorithm that will go through all the source code to find for you the CSS elements that contains your target text. So instead of thinking as CSS elements, you think text value. And you need to write the exact text value that is inside your target element. In this case, it's Google search with capital G and capital S, no space at the end, no space at the beginning. Yeah? You have to be consistent, otherwise this algorithm will not find for you the right element if you make a mistake in the text input. So let's run it now. And when I click enable here, and also you need to empty CSS selector. It has to be empty. You cannot have a value like this A, because it will be already targeting something. So you have to remove whatever you have as a CSS selector. You enable the search mode. You put your text search. Once you have done that, you go up to the command bar, and now you run it here. You run this command. So I run it. Now what it is doing, it's actually parsing the whole source code of Google to find everything that we need. And now I repeat some. Indeed, there are two elements that use this text, and that's why it was throwing off and destroying our automation. But this was able for you to figure out that only one of them is unique, and the one that is unique, you have to combine these two CSS selectors together to make a unique CSS selector. So therefore, I am now confident that this is the CSS selector that will give me only one element. So therefore, my click command now, I go back to it and I paste this CSS selector, and now it will only click one item, and I got rid of my confusion of clicking two items. Does it make more sense now?
Yeah, it's making perfect sense, and I've even managed to replicate it on my system and using my own use of that tool to search. And so I know I can do it for this one thing.
That's excellent. So this will solve a lot of the tricky websites that have duplicate elements or that try to hide elements from the click and point. So let's run it. So since it's working on your side, and probably you having a UK connection, you have less of the reCAPTCHA. So blue shirt, and now, oh, you see, I'm missing something, but it clicked search, so now we're getting the results of blue search. And you saw my mouse was hovering, it went around a little bit. And now now we reload Google. Now we're going to type the second keyword, which was the second color. Let's see.
So it's interesting on that reCAPTCHA. When I've been running the previous version that I had created in the past,
yeah,
the first time I did it, it made me go through that process. And once I'd done it once, it was okay.
Yes,
but
yeah.
Somehow, introducing that little movement of the mouse and clicking, it didn't ask this time. And so
yes, the more you look human in the way that you behave on the browser, the less you will get those reCAPTCHA. But sometimes we want to go too fast and brutal, and then it's just not human anymore. So you see, we went through the 3 colors shirts. So we have our automation is working. Now it did the job, but I don't know if you notice, it's hovering, but then the suggested results of Google, they're still displayed. So what I should do here is that in my command folder, I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it folder human random actions, because that's what we are trying to do here. So if I click the I will uncollapse all my elements, and what I want to do here is that there is the hover folder. But inside this, I want to click, and I want to click, I will show you a trick here. I want to click element, so I want to click outside of the suggested search results. So I'm going to do it in a literal way. Click outside suggested search words. And I click here, and I want to click, you know, I don't know, here in this big bar. So that's what I will do to get out of those suggested things before I click on search. So here, when I click here, I should rename it also for consistency. Click on Google search button. Search button. Okay, let's run this again. And I saw that this was quite fast, so I can put just 5 seconds here for Google to reload. Let's run this again. So these little details, Sam, will make your automation on the long run more resilient. So let's look at it now. It should click somewhere on the top right of the Google logo to get us out of this suggested search. Yeah, so he hovered, you see, it was very fast, but he clicked outside before clicking the search button, because sometimes if you don't click outside, the suggested searches may be hiding the button. And unless you exit from that, maybe the button is not clickable. Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So now we're starting to get, it's still quite fast, but it's much more human and much more resilient. So we are getting both the speed, a human mimicking, and also we're getting the resilience. And you can see now we did the 3 searches and we got the data. I mean, supposedly we got the data because I didn't do the inspection side. But is this enough, or do you want to cover also the inspection side to actually catch the data?
Well, the problem that I was facing is I was trying to populate the list inside the data, and it wasn't doing that.
What do you mean populate the list inside the data?
So for example, we've got, let's say you want to get the top 5 results when you search for red shirt.
Yes.
I can get it to extract the top 5 results, but I want to be able to match that against red shirt so that those are different from the blue shirt and the black shirt. And I couldn't get that.
Oh, I got it. So you want to reference the results to the actual keyword that was used.
Yeah.
Very good point. So let's do that, because that's also not easy at the beginning when you're not used to automation tools. So this is how you do that. First, I'm going to first do a search, black shirt. Okay, let's say we are in a page like this. So I have reproduced right now, I have reproduced until click on search button, wait. So we are here at the moment before clicking extract. That's what is being displayed. So now I switch to inspection mode, and I want to grab the results here, right? This is a result, this is a result, this is a result. Is that correct? Yeah. So
yeah.
So sometimes this one of them on the top is a sponsored link. So let's not deal with that for now. Let's do an easy way. So I want first to catch the title, let's say, and then I click here, and let's see if this is going to do the work. It's finding 9 titles, which sounds right, and it's getting me the titles. And let's double check: men's black shirts, next official. Where is that? Here, this one. It's catching this one first. Yeah, that corresponds to the first one. The second title is just men's black shirt. That is indeed. The third one is black shirts for men button up. Black shirts for men button up. So correct. I'm getting 9 results. That looks correct. Let's say now you also want the URL, right? So what I would do is that I would copy this. Sorry, I would duplicate this property. And now I call it a URL. And normally, if I just switch here to link, it should give me the link if the link is on the same text, but it is not. So this is not doing the job. But for the purpose of today, to keep it simple, Sam, let's just say that we just want to grab the titles. But I want to know to which keyword from the list this corresponds. Is that correct? The need that we need to cover?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how you do that is that you create a second property, and you call it keyword, which is like the keyword that we just searched. So this value is not going to come from the web page. It is right now, I'm going to say, it is right now held in the memory as list under the value list. So exactly like I did with the alert command, I can do the same with the properties. I can go, instead of using CSS selector, I tell RTILA for this particular property called keyword, I want the current value that is in the list. Therefore, I use the curly bracket list, curly bracket close. And you see now, this will be replaced by the current value of keyword. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So this normally should work, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah? And we will see, if it doesn't work, we will see why. Okay, it's gonna run through these three. Okay, second shirt. And the third one. All right, let's see now, we let it close properly. And once it's closed, let's go see the results. We have 27 results, and I get, so it's messed up in the order, but it's there. You get every search result with the corresponding keyword. Is this what you expected?
That is what I expected, and I was doing it on my screen alongside you, and mine hasn't given me that result. I'm
Windows.
on a Mac.
You're on a Mac. So we just released a new Mac version. And now on Mac, there are two, we had to split RTILA into two versions because of the latest changes. So you need to check what is the version of your Mac, what processor you have. Are you using, do you have an Intel processor, x64, or an ARM processor? And depending on your processor, you choose the new version of RTILA Studio for Mac. And I think that's related to that, because some commands after the update of the recent update of Apple in the beginning of the year created some troubles. So I think it's related to that rather than the CSS selectors. Can you tell me what? Can you make a screenshot of your about this Mac, please, or tell me the model of your Mac, and I'll show you how to solve this. I'll go to ChatGPT.
About this Mac. Yeah, the i7 processor. Is that right?
i7, yeah.
i7.
So tell me first the model of the Mac, please.
MacBook Pro 15-inch.
MacBook Pro 15-inch, and then is there like a reference? The year is important.
2018.
2018, and then you said there is something about Intel there?
Yes, the Intel.
Okay, that should be good. So the way you do it if you're a Mac user is you can go to ChatGPT and ask which processor type is my MacBook using, and it's going to tell you if it's an Intel or an ARM processor. So yes, it was already written there, but it's an Intel. So if you go to our GitHub on our v7.1, if you scroll down, you will see that we have multiple versions, and we have, so Intel is X is Intel, ARM is the other processor. So you need to download an x64 version, and we have a new beta that we just launched last week. So if you can download this RTILA Mac x64 beta for your Mac and then install it. If you had an ARM processor, which is like the most recent Macs, they use ARM. So if you guys have an ARM based Mac, you would download this one, either the beta or the regular one. So this is how it works for Mac. Yeah. And please try that, and then let us know, and hopefully you'll get your automation running.
Cool. I'll give that a go.
Superb. Sam, are we good for today?
Yeah, I think so. You've given me one new line of experimentation, so I've definitely got that. I'll try reinstalling it and see if that makes a difference on the list population piece, but I'll get in touch if.
Excellent, and I hope the list logic, you already got it, but I hope it makes more sense with to be very how you call it, very precise in exporting the steps from our head to the machine.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I got some little tricks for me. I still can't figure out why it's doing what it's doing around, like, why is it not going back to that home page, but things about moving the mouse and that sort of thing.
Super.
Yeah, they're good little tricks. Cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam, and please enjoy a good rest of the day. Take care for now.
See you.
Bye.